So, we are still dealing with Trump. We are still dealing with the virus. We're still dealing with all things. But there's a lot that I don't think people are aware of that are happening on a big global process. And the United States is smack dab in the middle of it. And it really is quite a global scenario. It's much bigger than the coronavirus. It's about economy. It's about housing. It's about everybody in the world not becoming homeless over the next 6 months. It's about how do you deal with that process, and then the stress level that happens inside of governments that are controlled by evil, and at what level does their evil go up when they're under stress. So we have a president that's obviously not on the side of the good. There is two ways of going. There is the left-hand path and there's the right-hand path. And it doesn't matter if you're politics or you're just a regular person. It is left-hand path, right-hand path. So in the right-hand path, the right-hand path is the path of the heart, and it's the path of the awakening soul. So it pretty much governs things in service, compassion, empathy, caring, sharing, those qualities that we're here to develop. So taking that path gives us the opportunity to grow and develop, make a better world, and reincarnate in that world that we're developing. It's human rights. That's what the right-hand path represents, is human rights. Left-hand path is subserviency. So immediately human rights is out the door. So everybody is talking about, in that left-hand path, their lack of human rights, all throughout history, their lack of human rights. So, and then it includes up to this present very second, whether you're in America or you're in France or you're in England or you're in China or Russia. It's all the same. It is mainly left-hand path. And whether you have a king or a queen, that's a really big left-hand path. Or do you have a president or an ambassador that represents you, or a dictator? That level of authority is where that influence, left hand, right hand, begins its process. It grows in its glamour. So it's a symptom. It's not a human nature. It's a symptom. It's something that's let loose from lower terrestrial realms. It's not something that comes from heaven. It's not something that is part of a cosmic law. It has no applying reality to the right-hand path, which applies the cosmic law and science and many, many things that are inevitable in relationship to God's expression. But when the left-hand path is present, it has to veil the process. So it creates conflict. That's its main purpose, is to create conflict, and does that through subserviency. It does that through making people think that they need to be dependent, and live in a dreamlike state that they're going to accomplish something through this dependency. And whether it be drugs or alcohol, food, it is developing your solar plex. It's not developing your heart. It's developing your solar plex. And this is where we start off. When we're little children, we have a necessary need to develop our heart center and for our solar plex to be moved in an upward position, so that we receive all the right caring, sharing, and all the good compassion realities that happen as we're being born, and we live through our lives, and we come in contact with our humanity. So nursing comes into it. The mother's nursing. There's feeding process. There's closeness. There's all those things that come with the right-hand path. But you can lose those things too. You can lose your compassion, your empathy. You can start thinking everything is mechanical, and you could just supplement, nursing for powdered protein of some kind or some other food source, rather than its natural equivalent, which would be a right-hand path, things of nature. So in nature, we have needs. Every human being needs a place to live, a place to sleep, a place to be able to eat, a place to be able to have that relationship and live in this world. And that's something that is needed. It's not something that we should have to feel that we earn. It's something that we should be automatically, through the nature of our nature, our humanity, we should have free health, free education, and free housing. Those things are the providing qualities that come with being a human being. But that's on the right-hand path. And it's not socialism or communism. It just is what it is. If you look at reality, that is what is reality. And if we solve those simple terms of reality, we solve 90% of the problems in the world. So we solve mental illness. We solve disease. We solve a lack of communication of love and caring between family members and people in the human realm living together, whether it be in one race or another. If we live in this way, we lose our strong influence of having been subordinate and having never been taken care of, never held the relationship to the heart center coming around us in the environment. Not being supported in that way, where we can be thrown on the street at an elderly age or for any reason whatsoever, and no one cares. And this could happen as a child. You could be stuck with your parents who's homeless. You can happen at any given time. Go to any nation of Nepal or India or China or any other country where that life does exist. Little children are without parents, and they're fending themselves throughout a day-to-day life. And that's normal in our world. But that's not normal where life comes in, where we are on the right-hand path. If we are on the right-hand path, then in every way our actions are developed toward making sure that when we develop a community, just on the smallest level, from tribe to community to city to, the whole process of a country, is developed through compassion and caring and sharing, and not the industry that makes us think we have to eat out of cans and we have to eat processed food, and that we're so uncomfortable in our subordination. We're so uncomfortable. We think that we have to be vegan or vegetarian, and we can't hunt anymore. And just because our heart has never been touched, we're without love. So we can be led down that left-hand road. The right-hand road is very natural. We do hunt. We do forage. We do have gardens. We do have a life. We do maintain our house. We know how to build the house and do the plumbing and do the electricity, and all those things come to natural. That's what we learn while we're living in our life. We learn that in grade school. We learn that in high school. We learn that through life. And we build our own home. This isn't something that costs people a lot of money. By the time you've graduated high school, you built your home. It's just natural. It's not a cost process. But this requires love. It requires us to be on the right-hand path and lose all these things, these prejudice things, these bias scenarios of thought forms that are projected into us in thinking of socialism or communism or isms, rather than simple lifestyle. If we study the relationship of Buddhism, we find out that the first original democracy was established in the teaching of Buddha. Buddha did everything he could to try and break down the influences of dogma, that were amongst Hindus, it was terrible. And to be able to bring about, right human rights between people. So he established the Sangha, a word called Sangha. And Sangha means human beings, all human beings clustered together as human beings, not as a race, not as a caste, but as human beings. And that every single man or woman, every single one of them had the human right of spiritual integrity, spiritual development. And that was then called Bodhisattva. The awakening of Bodhisattva was inside of every single living human being. And that's the way Buddha saw it. That's the way Jesus sees it. That's the way any relationship to God sees life. It's a right-hand path. Yeah. So, you can go much further into all the teachings of Buddha or all the teachings of Jesus, but it really is that principle of the right-hand path. Yeah. So we need to be very well aware of the conditions of the left-hand path that is present in our life. And it causes all suffering, all illness, including death. It creates and orients a lower psychic nature bound up in witchcraft, bound up in lower psychicism, through hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years of cult-like pagan realities of people subjecting themselves to delusionary, what was seemingly delusionary, but in all real principles, they were conjuring up demons, and they were conjuring up spirits, and they were putting curses upon humanity. And as that incarnation after incarnation after incarnation, these people became the lunar lords that we now serve today. The Trumps, the kings, the queens, they're all warlocks and witches. They are money magic and sex magic. They have got what they believe to be gifts and abilities that are far greater than most people. But they're glamours. They're not gifts or abilities. They're glamours. And they make manifest those glamours through previous life ceremonial magic. You can witness it in the Egyptian process. You can witness it in the Aztec process. You can witness it in the Mayan process, and even in many areas of the Native Americans where Black Lodge reality did exist. And that's black magic. Those are wizards of the worst kind. Black magicians. And they created what we now believe to be the existence of the dream, the existence of greed, hoarding. Not sharing, not caring. They broke away the tribe. They broke away the spirit. They broke away fellowship. They broke away and they created conflict. An energy inside the solar plex that created dogmas and prejudices and hates and fears that only existed in the lower elemental realms from the curses that were placed upon them. So this has happened throughout enormous amounts of time. And it's really difficult to clear all this, because it's in ancient periods, ancient amount of time this has been going on. So healing it has more to do with the process of what I'm doing. I'm creating a right-hand path inside of humanity that's not asking for a right-hand path. There is a war going on. It's a spiritual war. It's called the War of Shambhala. And the Shambhala warrior is a person from humanity, from previous lives, ancient lives, that has stood up for humanity in right relationship to all mankind. And they lived as yogis. They lived as saints. They lived as people who lived in moderation and received higher levels of understanding, like Socrates, Plato, and many, many others, who established themselves in the understanding of democracy, the influence of how people can be governed by the right use of the race, by the right use of the soul, by the right use of the monad, the influences that come from higher spiritual mind governing this world rather than the lower mind of glamours, kings, queens, and rich people, which is where we're at today. Rich people, any rich person can become president. Keanu West can become president. Anybody who wishes to become president can do that if they have the money. They can pay for their own thing. They can do their own advertisement. They can move people to think that they're famous. yeah, by branding themselves in a way in which creates an illusion. It's all in your solar plex. It's all left-hand path, yeah. So we're moving away from that. This virus is creating a healing crisis. It's allowing people to see the truth in ways that they simply couldn't have seen it. Yeah, when people elected Trump, they elected Trump because they have a very strong solar plex, and they're led by the lunar lords of the solar plex. Yeah, people who see separation, see black people as different, see Mexican people as people who are just plain evil. You know, no good. Yeah, American Indians, we won't even talk about them. Yeah. Yeah, the nations of Israel, the nations of, goes way up to the top. Yeah, but the Muslims go way down to the bottom. Yeah, these are a bunch of bigots. Yeah, and they're all left-hand path, and they feel completely comfortable in expressing their bigotry. Yeah, that's Trump, and the people who follow Trump are people who are channeling the influence of the Dark Lodge. They have no control over themselves. They're cursed. They're cursed in their lower nature. Yeah? All of them in mind could not do something that is a great task, because they're in their lower nature in a subservient state, serving their lower nature through habits and lower negative thought form building. Yeah, just by being a bigot. Yeah, they don't raise their consciousness any higher. They are sitting there in a state of inertia. And this is masses of people around the world, people from the Catholic Church, people from all the different categories of occult, are all bigots. Yeah, whether you're Scientology, you're one of the biggest bigots on the planet. Yeah, if you're a Catholic, you're a big bigot. If you're a Jew, you're a big bigot. If you're a Muslim, you're a big bigot. Yeah, it's bigotry. It's all bigotry. Yeah, and it's all, if it's bigotry, left-hand path. Yeah, that's a symptom, something you need to learn. Is the reality of God's expression. God does exist. God only exists in the right-hand path. And there's a war going on. And the healing crisis brought out by that war, which is having Christ on earth, teaching you these very things so that you better understand, because I'm expressing the rays, so you could see the rays in the nations and in humanity and the way that we're expressing as a way of symptom. And we can change that symptom. It's all based on thought form building. And the soul is in the higher mind. Yeah? The soul's not in the lower mind. So the moment we reach ourselves up into the higher mind, we start seeing the bullshit that Trump is doing. The dangers that come in from that reality. What are the dangers of Trump? Well, let's imagine, he's on the left-hand path, which means he's going to put a lot more money into war, into military, into the police, and into prisons. Yeah, that's their job. That's what they do. They put a lot of money into economy, into stock, into industry, into the police, into prisons, yeah, and at war. Yeah, but yet they don't put it into hospitalization or insurance or housing. Yeah, for economy, big housing, yes, but not for the average person. Yeah, and they don't put it into the reality of people being able to get an equal amount of wage, $25, $30 an hour. Impossible for them to even consider that that's a proper wage for humanity, yeah, because they're seeing it from an economy status of going, that would just rock the boat completely. There's no way we can pull it off. But in truth, yeah, we could do all of this. Yeah, it's not a matter of just immediately raising wages and immediately making changes, but being under these conditions, due to the fact that we have to stay at home, and that millions and millions and millions and millions of people are going to be evicted out of their homes over the next 5 months. That's just in the United States. That doesn't include Europe, that doesn't include China, that doesn't include other countries, yeah? But all of them are the same. All of them are in the same boat, because we're from a left-hand spin process. And it's all going to come crumbling down. There's no support system for us inside this system. They're not made up that way. There's no way that they're going to say, okay, all mortgages are frozen, all rents are frozen, and you're going to get every single person going to get $2,000 a month to cover your daily expenses for your family or for you as an individual. That's what we do on the right-hand path. That's just what we do. There's a whole lot of us in the New Group World servers that are saying that's exactly what we need to do. Yeah, but then there's a whole other side that's saying, well, we need to get rid of food stamps, and we need to get rid of insurance, yeah, and we need to get rid of, unemployment. Yeah, it's costing us too much, and we need to get rid of, this and that. I mean, food stamps and all these different things, and not adding anything into the process for everybody who's suffering. Yeah, let alone deal with the coronavirus, deal with giving testing, deal with saying honestly, hospitalization, the numbers in hospitalization rather than the numbers of people tested who comes out positive. It's the numbers of hospitalization and the numbers of deaths are the numbers that you should be witnessing so that you could see how horrible this really is. If we're just looking at numbers in the millions and then the president goes, yeah, but that's only because we're testing, and we're not getting a true perspective. And in order to open our heart, we have to receive information that gives us understanding, yeah? Not information that is missing the element that would give us understanding. Missing, literally taken out, not put there, missing, yeah? So these elements are important. You need to look for those elements. You need to look for hospitalization, the number of people who's tested positive, and the number of people who are dying. Yeah, that's your valid way. And if you go that way, you'll see that it will manifest because we live in a world of thought form building. We are a soulful planet. Yeah, we are becoming soulfully integrated. If we use our minds to simply listen to what I'm saying and see things in that perspective and just see it, you'll see revelation manifest in the world in the terms of thought form building. That's the Holy Spirit. Yeah. So we're at war, not an aggressive war, not a left-hand spin war, but we're in a war of transfiguration and transformation. Yeah. So all of this is going to be changed. All of this is going to come into an enormous change, but at the same time, we have a left-hand spin that has processes going on that we're not aware of. Yeah. We're not aware of the fact that America is instigating a war. Yeah. America is instigating a war with not just China, but within the United States, around the people themselves. Yeah. And also instigating a war with Russia. But that's a private war, and it's happening in a different way than it is with China. Yeah, China is getting a lot going on right now in order to embarrass China and push China into a very aggressive relationship with us. And no one knows it. Yeah, we're not hearing it on the news. We're not thinking, well, that's a terrible thing. We better watch out about that. Maybe do something about it. Yeah, but in reality, this is what's going on. We have a China scenario. Let me just show you a little bit of that. Let's see. First, we'll start off with his embassy scenario.
Tonight, China is vowing to retaliate after the U.S. accused the country of hacking into companies doing coronavirus vaccine research and ordered its consulate in Houston to close. Now, this is a significant escalation in a growing conflict between the world's two largest economies, all made worse by the pandemic. Here's CBS's Margaret Brennan.
Plumes of smoke tipped off firefighters that something was amiss at China's Houston consulate.
When attempting to make entry, they were denied access to the facility.
These images, which have not been verified, show people burning documents, a common practice when a diplomatic post is quickly abandoned. U.S. officials claim that Houston was a hub for espionage and that China recently escalated its theft of intellectual property from U.S. institutions. Hours earlier, the State Department ordered China's ambassador to shut down the Texas outpost by Friday. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
We are setting out clear expectations for how the Chinese Communist Party is going to behave. And when they don't, we're going to take actions that protect the American people, protect our security, our national security, and also protect our economy and jobs.
An outraged Beijing threatened there may be consequences for expelling dozens of its diplomats. Tensions with Beijing have escalated since the pandemic began.
Kung flu, it's a nasty, horrible disease that should have never been allowed to escape China.
And President Trump's long-promised trade deal has stalled.
I'm not interested right now in talking to China.
China claims it is all unfair stigmatizing for political reasons.
So that's a lot. And most everybody knows this. They see it on the news, and it's happening. And, you know, it's fairly expected. You know, I mean, it's China and we've got major problems and they are doing a lot of spying. It's great. They're taking care of that. That's all great. Yeah. Except that there are things going on in the process of this, not just in America, but in other countries, in Australia, in Taiwan, where bases have been built, you know, by America, which is set up for war. Yeah. An increased process for war. Yeah. And China knows this, so they're increasing their process for war. Yeah. But they said, well, we're going to retaliate. You know, you close our embassy, we're going to retaliate, you know. What would that retaliate look like? You know, I mean, golly, you think, well, maybe they're going to close one of our embassies, which they did. Yeah, they closed one of our embassies, yeah, which is totally normal. But then they say this is not so normal.
A Chinese admiral has issued a chilling threat to the U.S. by suggesting that Beijing could settle its disputes with Washington by sinking 2 American aircraft carriers. Rear Admiral Lu Yuan told an audience in Shenzhen that what the United States fears the most is taking casualties before declaring that destroying one of its supercarriers would kill 5,000 Navy personnel. Bragging about China's anti-ship missile capabilities, Lu added that sinking 2 carriers would double that figure, the New York-based Epoch Times reports. He told a top military summit, "We'll see how frightened America is." In the wide-ranging speech on December 20th, Lu discussed China-US relations and the escalating trade war between Washington and Beijing. The military academic went on to insist that the trade spat was definitely not simply friction over economics and trade, warning that the conflict was instead a prime strategic issue. China is continuing to flex its muscles in East Asia, expanding its influence in the East China Sea and strengthening its claims over the disputed Spratly Islands in the South China Sea. U.S. warships are deployed in the region with the aim of monitoring Chinese expansion, and vessels from the rival nations have come close to colliding with each other in recent months. Experts have warned that the increased military presence from both sides raises the risk of miscalculation and could spark a conflict between the two superpowers. Lu told the military summit in Shenzhen that America is open to attack through its 5 cornerstones, including its money, talent, electoral system and fear of adversaries. He declared China should use its strength to attack the enemy's shortcomings by targeting wherever the enemy is afraid of being hit. Lu claimed Beijing holds 3 bargaining chips which it could use to target President Trump and the United States, including what he described as America's second-rate automotive industry and U.S. soybean exports.
Yeah, so you might want to listen to that. Yeah, these are valid reports. Yeah, ongoing processes that are really going on. Yeah. And if you study the Soviet Union, yeah, and if you study the Communist Party of China, the two were pretty much coming from the same school, yeah, back about 70 or 80 years ago. And so their school was, how do we control and dominate? How do we deal with these people? First, we make them weak. We find out what their weakest spot is, and we make that part weak. And then, like soybeans, corn, things like that, we have big trade. Embargo is a good idea. Let's push Trump into an embargo so we could leverage an embargo and harm, things in that nature. And on the military side, what would be the leverage of military? It might be hitting a ship that had 5,000 troops on it. An aircraft carrier. Not one, but two. And they're all out over the fact that over the last 10 years they've been building ships that destroy ships. And they build ships that have intercontinental missiles on them. And this is well known, but yet back in the 80s, we were under a belief system and a process. We're trying to create a closing of nuclear missiles, a slowing down of military might, really backing off, but that never really happened. Throughout the years, if you listen to Putin, if you listen to China and hear their reaction to America's behavior, and then the behavior of China and the behavior of Russia, all of them are in cahoots of war. For whatever reason, they're in that. It's a Cold War mentality. These guys are out to get us. Russia's going to throw a nuclear bomb at us. China's going to throw nuclear bombs at us. We cannot take a weaker side. There's no way. We're already deep into this. Now, there's a lot. If you're on the left-hand side, logic and all that, strategics and everything makes total sense. Makes total sense. So you can't, you can go in there and you can't really make a major change. Negotiating, hey, let's throw the missiles out. Let's cut back on all this. No, those are great warships, but let's dock them. Let's let them sit. Those are not going to be negotiations. So it's the process of the soul is the only in our world where we're at this point in time, with people in the movie industry making enormous satanic movies, people in average everyday life making decisions that destroy their soul and destroy the future of their life, their process of their gender, their process of their lifestyle, whether it be in intense drugs or alcohol, all these things that just absorb their life, and it doesn't give them soul. None of it gives them any soul. It puts them in a worse place than they were when they first incarnated. Not good. Not good at all. And you can look at this in all the way through. You can see it, thinking, oh, it's a generation, or oh, it's a week, oh, whatever, It's the left-hand path. And it's deeply affecting every part of the world. Chinese deciding, well, we only have one child. With a bad decision. Now they know that, and they're wreaking terrible karma from it. They can't get things done. They got to hire people from other countries. It's the same with Japan. There are negotiations of trying to manipulate and control using left-hand path, not using the mind and the consciousness of the right-hand path. But there isn't a nation that hasn't had saints in it. Whether it be China or India or Nepal or America, there isn't a nation where enormous numbers of saints didn't take incarnation and live out their hard life and move every continent forward in some way, some magical, wonderful way. Every life, every nation, all the time, 24/7, this is going on. And yet, we're not directly related to that. It's all left-hand spin. We're suffering. But yet the saints keep marching in. The saints are here. You got to put all your faith in that thought form. Yeah. All this shit is what it is. It is. But there is a war. And that war is the saints of Christ, the new group of world servers. And they're receiving my transmission. And I'm moving them through creative, active intelligence. Thought form building, creative, active intelligence. Decisive thinking, clear thinking on every level of every soul. Whether you have a fifth-ray soul or a third-ray soul or fourth-ray soul, whatever your soul is, it's being illuminated by me. I'm taking full responsibility of every single area that a person could do. And I'm walking through it on a day-to-day basis. And I'm seeing how it would be if I was in that position. Yeah. And I'm moving people, overshadowing people. It doesn't matter what. Now you hear China. China says, well, maybe we could screw up their car industry. Yeah. So I create Tesla. And I just screwed up their car industry. Simultaneously. And we walked over there and says, we'd like to help you. Yeah. With your batteries and your car industry. Yeah. No malice. No greed. No competition. Just a saint coming on board, walking in to a very evil scenario, but that's what saints do. Yeah? Saints come walking in the middle of darkness, and they pull it off because they're there with Christ. They hold reign over the whole thing. This is not manifest destiny. This is God's plan and a working out of God's plan. And the saints are doing that. They carry the whole plan inside of them. And no matter where they go, no matter what they connect into, masses of people immediately are initiated into their soul. Over the next 10 years, they change. Yeah? Because opportunity from the soul just walked in the door. Yeah? And they have no expectations. No one has any expectations that this is what's going on. Yeah? This is what's going on the highest levels, even with the king and queen of England. Yeah? I threw a saint in there. Blew the whole thing up in the air. Yeah? Everybody's freaked out. All the bad guys are bad guys. Yeah? All those who are nobody are just an average nobody. Yeah? It is what it is. Yeah? Yeah? Queen has no special abilities. She's not smart. She's not capable, she's not competent, she's just a person. Like anybody's grandma. Yeah? That's it. Yeah? And once we lose those delusions of glamour, which is brought to you by witchcraft and warlocks, and putting the influence into them, thinking you can control destiny through the use of these warlocks and magicians, whether it be astrology, numerology, pagan worship of any kind, it's all divination. Yeah? We live in a world that is manifested through divination. Yeah? Yeah? So it's a matter of overthrowing that. And you don't do anything. You don't do a ceremonial magic. It's nothing. It's spontaneity. It's soul. Yeah? It's spontaneity. Yeah? You can't see it coming. Yeah? You can't feel it coming into you. Yeah? You just find it more interesting than normal. Yeah? People just go, I don't know why I like the Tesla. I don't know why I'm buying every single one that comes off the shelf. I don't know why I'm doing it. Yeah? I don't know why I'm, going one direction. Yeah? And how it is, we're all supporting not only just an electric car, but an entire space program, getting us back on the moon, getting us out of the hands of Russia and other places that are taking advantage of the fact that we just simply are taking our time and energy away from the space program, which is the right-hand path, and more into military development and not let anybody know, whether it be the Contras or whatever they had going on behind the scene. All those wars. So many freaking wars, people. Yeah. And they are pushing right now for there to be a war. Yeah? Well, to them, that's an economy boost. Left-hand path, that's an economy boost. Now you're going to no longer have to recruit anybody. Yeah? Now you are drafted. Every single male is drafted. I was drafted. July, I was drafted in January 3rd in 1970. Yeah. Yeah. And it, you don't want to go there. You don't want to be drafted. Yeah. Everybody who graduated with me got drafted. That was 1969. And it just kept going on until 1973. Yeah. And we're being moved into that kind of process. And that's an economy boost. Yeah. It's a left-hand path delusionary process that at the lower side, there's enormous greed fostering this thing to manifest. Yeah. And then there's all these glamours and delusions and messiah complexes and everything that get blown up during the middle of war. And you get your admirals, you get your military forces, you get your, all your events that are all delusionary forces that are waiting to go into action. Imagine, I've been in the military, both Marines and the Navy, and I've hung out with these people, and they are some crazy-ass people, especially the Marines. They just want to go kill. I can't wait to go get me, in the Vietnam War, it was called gooks. Can't wait to go get me a Vietnam gook. Get on over there, and they have no idea what it means to be at war. They have no idea what it means to be shot at, to go crazy, to come out of it, not come out of it alive, but come out of it suffering in every possible way, because it's a lie. It's a dream. Yeah, we're fostering a left-hand path dream that okays little kids to go to war. Yeah, and that's where we're being moved to. Yeah, we're being prepared for that process. Yeah. So here we have a nation where we have a guy that is having a great time, and he's trying to develop, our prejudice. All those Mexicans, man. We don't need them. Yeah, right. We don't need them. Can you imagine? Yeah. We don't need those people, Let's put up a wall. Yeah. It's going to cost trillions of dollars, and Mexicans are paying for it. Let's put up a wall. I know how to build a wall. Anybody knows how to build. I build a wall better than anybody else. That's what Trump says. Yeah. And here's his wall. He builds a wall, but it's left-hand path. And what comes out of a wall like that? Now that was hard. Had to be one of the world's greatest mountain climbers.
But it really is virtually impenetrable. To protect you on top, how that stops, it's a anti-climb device. If you look at the steel on top, it's also structural, but actually it was there more importantly for anti-climb. Do you want to?
Yeah, here's the deal. I'm going to be here a very long time. Yeah. And I'm the world teacher. Yeah. So my education to humanity is how we get the soul. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's not hard. How do we get the soul? Well, first we have to realize that there are 7 rays. There are 7 soul rays. Each ray has the ability to express glamours, those vices. Yeah, and they're always going to express glamours when you're not soulful, because your soul is always there, but it's soulless. It doesn't have light in it yet. So it has a negative quality to it, very negative, and it impresses upon your personality as a very negative expression, like a fallen angel. Yeah. You have no idea what that means, but that's what I'm here for, is to explain the fact that you are an angel. You've been conned. You do not realize you're an angel, and it's very important you realize you're an angel. Yeah, because you have 7 rays of virtues of power. And without those 7 rays, you have nothing. You're like an animal, walking around with just maybe 2 or 3 rays functioning in your vehicles. Yeah, and that's about it. Yeah, and we cannot live like that. We cannot live like that. But due to the 5th ray process, the influence up here in the brow, and the influence of this left-hand path, it takes us and focuses only on the 5th ray and the 1st ray. 5th ray and 1st ray. So as the nature of our being, we are subservient to these 2 rays. They're the most powerful rays in our human beingness. Yeah. So those are usually kings or queens or assholes, people who steal from you, people who beat you up in the middle of the night, people who take shit from you and don't care whatsoever. That's a 5th ray and a 1st ray. Yeah. But yet, it's the same ray of a president. The same ray of a president is the ray of a person who should be in prison. Yeah. So we have to really, really make sure that the office that we're setting up for people to step into is one that they have a great deal of 2nd ray in service throughout life, throughout history, as a child, as a grown-up, caring and sharing for other people and showing saintly-like qualities by natural qualities, not intellectual things, but saintly things, caring things, sharing things, willing to go way beyond what they're being called to do. Yeah? And those are the influences that we have to have in people who are in Congress, or people who are in the House of Representatives, people who are in the police force. Yeah? It's absolutely mandatory, because these are the rays they're going to have, 5th ray and 1st ray. We put them in that position as though they know something. A doctor is all 5th ray. Yeah? And then if that doctor goes up the ladder and thinks he's the best of all the doctors there is whatsoever out there, they're a 5th ray, 1st ray person. And they have laws within that doctor field. You cannot sue another doctor because of this 5th ray, 1st ray, unmentionable law that's inside of medicine. And it actually kills humanity. It stops all science from evolving, developing, anything. But yet we still have saints who break through those assholes who have made it to becoming the great doctor, who's that 5th ray, 1st ray, super duper guy or girl. They got to be broken down slowly but surely by creative, active, intelligent, loving doctors that sees a new way and go, I don't think you're right. And they have to have the courage and the strength and the ability, the Holy Spirit, which takes them out of that 5th ray 100% and moves them to the Holy Spirit. And that's the ray we're supposed to have. We're not supposed to have this ray messing around with us. It's a ray that'll give us satanic values, is the brow center. Yeah. If we overexpress our will, any aspects of our will, we become absolutely selfish. Yeah. And we think other people, we get so biased and prejudiced, we think people are machines. We expect them to behave like a machine, to act like a machine. Little kids, all the way up to old people. And then we don't care for them. That we get so distant because we've spent our time developing that fifth ray rather than developing the Holy Spirit, which would be creative, active intelligence. Yeah? And that comes every time you hear a wrong, is discernment. And then you discriminate. That's your third ray. It requires your heart center to use your third ray. Those two energies work together, and they keep you from being superficial and dominant and manipulative. Because the third ray can be a horrifying being that manipulates everybody and like a spider in the web and does it all for greed and manipulation and subserviency. Every ray has a major negative characteristic to it. Yeah. So the third ray, if it's used in this way, in taking the right-hand path with love and the influence that is overshadowed into it, yeah. When a person's an initiate, their rays express because they're an initiate, yeah. And we don't know anything about initiation. We're over here on this path, we're thinking, oh shit, we're going to go in the military, or I better be a doctor, or I better be a lawyer, or I better be a, something of this left-hand path, something that fits the dream, yeah. Rather than waking up and having a vision of God, which is a very rare thing, but it happens, yeah. And God talks to you and says your name, yeah. That happens. Read books. All saints have a personal relationship with the Lord, yeah. And the Lord has an ability to go beyond the veil of your left-hand path and step right in and stand there as a representative of the Holy Spirit. Yeah? And that's what increases your Holy Spirit. So that's the very first initiation, is the fact that the Lord himself is on earth in order to represent the Holy Spirit, to get you out of the left-hand path and to take you on to the path. Yeah? So there's a war between those two things. Yeah? So there's all of this that goes on is to aggravate and express, because it's all symptoms. Yeah, everything's a symptom. Yeah, and we have China going through their symptoms. We have America going through their symptoms, but it's all based on lower psychicism, manipulation through lower psychicism. Yeah. So the influence of people coming to a place to where they've got their coronavirus, and now they have to do something about healing themselves, then they have to actually step away from not caring. Yeah, and at first, their healing crisis is that they don't care, and it's going to go away because you just want to think it's short term. It's a flu. You want to think not the worst. Yeah, because that's a left-hand path. Yeah, you have no discernment, no discrimination. No time has been developed to develop discernment and discrimination. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah, so now you're in a situation where you better get your discernment and discrimination together most immediately. Yeah? Because those who discern and discriminate are making rules right now. Yeah? They're saying, clean your hands, yeah? Put a mask on, stay home, and stay in your freaking bedroom. Don't hang out even with the people in your family. Go down to the cellar, go sleep in your car, but separate yourself even at home. That was said. It was said to everybody, yeah? Clean your hands, mask, everything, yeah? Don't even go outside, yeah? Have your groceries brought to you, yeah? Choose one person in the family to do anything like that, and it's got to be the youngest, healthiest person, yeah? They do all the things, yeah? They bring them back. Those are just right-hand path, normal ways of getting through this. That's discernment and discrimination, yeah? So we all are going to have a long time to come to that, yeah? And while we're coming to that, we're going to have enormous number of people grabbing guns, standing on the steps of the mayor and saying, I'm not about to wear a mask. I woke up this morning free in a free country, and you're not going to make me wear a mask. Well, this is coming from your president, who's saying the same thing, who has posters of him holding a gun, doing the same thing. Yeah? So it's just a script. A script. You're weak. There's no discernment or discrimination. You're led. You're led. You're expressing exactly what's coming out of one person, the biggest wizard in the group, the warlord, yeah, the sex magician, the money magician, the fallen angel, the warlord, yeah. And you're by nature, you are not a fallen angel. You have to choose to be a fallen angel for God to subject you to the reality that you're a fallen angel. And as far as God's concerned, there's only one fallen angel, and everybody else can be completely reprieved. Because there's no choice. None of them made a choice. They followed. Yeah? They just followed. And that's just the process. When the rays go flipping like that, and they go in a different order, you have another kingdom of God that is separate from God's kingdom. And it's the astral plane. And we're all in it. We're all being held under the influence of that particular astral plane. So there's a war going on, and that war is settling things. Even though we have China saying, well, we're going to take out, aircraft carriers, 2 of them, 5,000 people each. That ought to get Trump pissed off. Yeah. And we'll stop sales of grain and other things that you need in America, or buy those things from America, allowing you economy. Yeah. That'll really piss you off. Yeah. We'll do certain things that we know would weaken not the country of the United States, but the political power of the United States. The people who are on that left-hand path, who will now use means of aggressive strategy in order to keep pushing back and forth. Yeah, yeah. But that is not going to work. Now, we're in the middle of a coronavirus. Yeah, there is no economy in the world. You can't do anything about it. Yeah, oil tankers are hanging out. They're not being used. Yeah. Oil is just sitting there. Yeah. The businesses, airplanes don't fly. Yeah. Trucks don't move that much. Only the ones that have to. Yeah. People are not in businesses. Businesses are closing. Therefore, in the next 5 months, we have no taxable income. Yeah. So what are you going to do? You're going to go in and shoot people for money? You're not a kind, compassionate group. Yeah. So it's going to put you into aggression. Yeah. And it's going to get to where in 5 to 6 months, right now, this guy is putting people from all levels of military and police and everything into cities to stop people from being pissed off. Stop him from being pissed off. Imagine how much more pissed off they're going to get. Yeah. It's a war. It's a war. Yeah. So we need to really do our best to realize that, following that war, getting out on the street and getting aggressive in any way, shape, or form is not how to deal with this. Yeah. The only way to deal with this is put your mask on, go home, and sit this thing out. Don't use the group that you were with. The people who said, wow, the next time there's going to be a riot, we're going to be there. We're from Seattle, or we're from this place, and we're aggressive terrorist-like people. Yeah? And this has been going on in the United States for quite a while. Vans and vans of people would show up at events where a police officer would shoot somebody, and then all of a sudden, vans and vans and vans of people dressed in black would show up and start rioting and get all pissed off and turn over cars. Yeah. That was a setup. That's a setup. And that's where this government is using that kind of thought, that all these people are that set up, rather than just being a small group of people who are from Seattle and upper parts of Wyoming and other areas where they like to make bombs and terrorize people and scare people. Yeah. Portland is a place for that. Seattle is a place for that. They took it over like that. It was the same group of people that go out to other states to create chaos. Yeah. And it's their way for social reform, to eliminate police needs. Yeah. It's a plan. And it's not right. Yeah. It is part of the left-hand spin. Just another lower level aggressive deployment of aggression. Yeah. We don't do that. That's not what we do. Yeah. People don't behave like that. Yeah. So our nature in humanity is to slowly but surely come to a healing. Yeah. And this coronavirus is pushing us into a place to where we're not going to have jobs. Yeah. We're going to be kicked out of homes. Yeah. We're going to be in processes to where people are getting sick, and the children are going to go to school, and we're going to find out, my God, they actually get sick from 10 up. Yeah. That they're not safe from 10 up. Yeah. They all get sick. Yeah. And they all can take it home, and everybody can get sick again. And there isn't a cycle to where there is an immunity. We're finding that there's no immunity. You get this, and they said, oh, wow, you get this, and you've had it, and 3 months later, you can't give it to anybody, and you can't get it. Yeah, but that's not true. They're finding it's not true. 6 months later, you can get it again, and it comes completely different. And you don't know how it's going to affect you and what way it's going to affect you. So the only way we can deal with this is with a vaccine. Until we get a vaccine, we have to isolate ourselves from getting it and passing it. Yeah, because it's that terrible. It's that dangerous. Yeah. And without this, without properly dealing with this, and this is a soulful decision. It's soulful. It's not a political thing. It's a soulful thing. Yeah. Then we have to do, in some way, we have to do whatever we can in every state, make an independent pressure toward that state to close down mortgages and close down rents until the end of the virus. Don't focus on federal reality, focus on a state reality. Yeah? State of California will do that. They'll make that as an option. Yeah? But then the federal government has to back it up with $2,000 of income per person. That puts us in a lot of debt, but it keeps us from going crazy. It keeps people from being kicked out of their house and committing suicide over the next year. Old people dying 20 years too soon. Yeah? Yeah, young people getting sick and having lung problems and mental problems for the rest of their lives because they went through all kinds of delirium, and no one even knows delirium is the main symptom of the coronavirus. Is delirium. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of discernment and discrimination that has to go on. We're given this opportunity for discernment and discrimination, and we have to use our heart center as a healer. We have to be developing healer, heal thyself. Yeah. And in doing so, we heal other people by being compassionate, empathetic, and learning to become strong and courageous. Be the ones who say, I will wear it. Yeah, and know that it's really the people who say you don't wear it are the people who are the followers and the aggressors and the militants and the terrorists. And if you even push them a tiny bit, they're going to throw something at you. They're going to slap you. They're going to get aggressive. Because it's not about them wearing a mask. It's about them being filled with hate. They're filled with hate. That's the only reason they're behaving that way, is that they are fostering hate deep inside, and they're scared shitless, and they simply cannot come to a place to where they can agree that we are in such a terrible state. They have to cover it up. Yeah. And that's what happens when you're in blind faith. You do that. Even though your priest is having sex with your child, you cover it up. It's exactly the same thing, people. We must get beyond this. Children are raped every day. Yeah? Fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, priests, people are doing this. We have no discernment or discrimination to stop it. We allow it to continue to the point of homosexuality and gender change. And yet the root of it is child pornography and pedophilia and the raping and the molestation of children. Yeah? For all of this is a symptom. As people grow, they become these things. But they become these things because of these causes. They were caused. Yeah? And we have to raise ourselves up to discern, discriminate, to realize that these are not real realities. They're channeling. It's a curse. And they're expressing symptoms. And if you see the symptoms for what they are, and look at them, you'll see that literally they're characteristics. They're not individuals being free. They're characteristics that get cursed into the person. Their mannerisms, their speech, their characteristics are literally changed to manifest into their morphed manifestation of a delusion of grandeur, which is 100% a curse. The person is not free. They are subordinate to evil spirits. And you can prove it simply because they are expressing characteristics that are not theirs. They're possessed. Yeah? And you got to come to some discernment, discrimination. This is a long ways up here. This is where I'm talking now, is up and around the first or second initiation. I'm trying to get everybody past the probationary path so we can get rid of these witches and warlocks and not support the fantastic relationship of football or fantastic relationship of baseball or fantastic relationship of all these glamour-oriented means in which we allow people to beat the shit out of each other for our own benefit. That's the most insane, uncompassionate thing you could ever do. And yet we do it all the way from Caesar's time to way before that, and we continue doing it today. Yeah? And as long as we have those thought forms, we think that this is okay. We will not see concussion. We will not see harm. We will not see the pain and suffering of a family of a professional football player who takes his life and beats the shit out of his children. We're not going to see it. We might hear about it here and there, but if you really look into it, you'll find that it's most common. These people take the weirdest drugs. They're in a high mental state that is so oriented toward lower body function rather than a development of a soul or freedom, for them to be free. They have to get up every day and beat their bones. You fall off a bike one time, you're going to be hurt. Try being a football player. You're going to be suffering for the rest of your life. For all the times you were tackled and hit, and your knees are gone, and your ankles are gone, and your back is gone, and yet everybody cheered you along. But you go see this guy 30 years later, and he's in a wheelchair. You have no discernment and discrimination of where you're putting people. None. You think it's okay for a baseball player to throw a ball, but watch it in a mechanical way. It is so distorted, the way they're forced to have to throw that ball to reach that speed. They have to distort their entire mechanism of their body to pull that off. Yeah? And that gives them all kinds of problems all throughout their body. Yeah? There's no benefit to any of it. I don't care if you're playing golf. I don't care if you're playing tennis, unless it's non-competitive. If you're doing something in order to, even archery or anything, martial arts, if you're doing anything to mastery the ability to go beyond the material limitation, where your mind says, no, I can't do that. That's not possible. That's the purpose of these things, is to break through and pass these limitations. That's discernment and discrimination. That's development of your courage and your understanding. But it doesn't happen in professional sports. Yeah? It's an aggressive left-hand spin game. Has nothing to do with martial arts. Has nothing to do with compassion, learning, meditation, all the things you should be developing if you're going to go into the field of developing high skills of the body. It has to be done through martial arts. Or you're going to go off into a delusion of grandeur, and they're going to pay your ass millions of dollars for your soul. For your soul. Where you could have gone this other path that I'm presenting, and you would have gained not only your soul, but your monad, and you would have saved the world. Yeah? Yeah. True. All right, so let's do a meditation. So this is an invocation to invoke into humanity the transmutation of the mental, emotional, and physical body. Yeah? And each one of those bodies is a ray. Yeah? Mental body has a ray. Physical body has a ray. Emotional body has a ray. Your personality has a ray. Your soul has a ray. And your monad has a ray. And this is all stuff most people have no idea about. But where I come from, this is kindergarten. This is you got to know this stuff, or you don't go anywhere. You don't understand anything. It's just not understandable. Yeah? But you can't really delve into it until after you've developed your discernment and discrimination. Yeah. Yeah. After you've calmed down, chilled out, and realized this is a bunch of bullshit. And I'm not driving down that road. Yeah. I don't care. It's scary. I don't care if you say you're stupid. You know, say it as loud as you like. You know, I don't think I'm stupid. Yeah. That's your discernment discrimination. Yeah. And that's what comes from these invocations. I invoke the power, the love, the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. Yeah? So this invokes into humanity so that as time goes on, hundreds, thousands of years from now, we are building temples. And we are building ourselves as a temple. And this all moves through time. First, we build ourselves as a temple. And we create our organization as a temple. All of our actions, all our behavior, all is done through the way in which our chakras communicate. Yeah, it's done through temple. Yeah, and it's temple building. Yeah, every relationship is based on raising another person up through your own chakras. So that first they take you down. Yeah, and then you stay calm, collected, take on their shit, absorb it, raise their karma, and everybody gets healed. Yeah, that's how it's done. But you can't do any of that until you first learn to heal yourself, discern, discriminate. And you are being blessed by Christ. Yeah, in the beginning, you don't know it, but as you get down that road, you find Christ, and you find how you got there, and it all makes sense. Yeah. But until you get past this discernment discrimination and being inside the middle of the dark lodge, inside of it, yeah, driving down roads, and you think they're all just fine and dandy. All the birds and everything is just great, yeah. But at the same time, human evolution has taken the left-hand spin, and we are in a heck of a place. And everybody out there is soulful. All the people you meet, the little kids on the street, yeah, all the people at the store, all the people you go to the McDonald's, you go to Jack in the Box, you go to all these places. These are highly soulful people that just need their soul awakened. It's there. You could see it in them. They're such good people. The whole of this human race, whether you're in Russia, China, Africa, doesn't matter where you're at. They all are angels. Yeah. So your job is to increase your light through discernment and discrimination, and that penetrates the light of Christ that's coming from above to reach out and effectively manifest these invocations, yeah? To guide me into the right activity of the plan, to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform, transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body so there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. To this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the one. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Yeah. All that is an invocation. Yeah. That aligns the relationship of where everybody's included in this invocation. Yeah. So this is where I'm sitting. That's the way it is. Yeah. And that's what you're going to be healed. Yeah. Is everything I'm saying here is where I'm come from. Yeah. So I'm sitting in this reality. Yeah, I'm expressing this 24/7. I wake up, I shit this way, I eat this way. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. This is it. 100%. It's been this way since I've been a little kid. Yeah, in every life I'm this way. Yeah. So on this earth there is a light. Yeah, and that light is what's in these invocations. Yeah. So I invoke that light to reach you as a magi. Yeah, they're wizards. They're false prophets. I'm a real prophet. Yeah, I'm not a false prophet. Yeah, I'm not a wizard. I'm a magi. Big diff. Yeah, I stand in the light of God. There's a big diff as a magi. That's a 7th degree initiate. Yeah, I did that a long time ago. Yeah, that one just kind of just is. I go into any monastery. I'm the guy who sits on the throne. Because I'm the only living 7th degree initiate on this planet. Yeah. And that's just the way it always is. Yeah. But that's only seen in the hierarchy. Yeah. In the right-hand path. Not seen in the left-hand path. Yeah. I'm just another one of everybody. Yeah. But the real truth is that there is a light of the world, and that light of the world can transmit into every living human being and save them. Yeah. And I'm live and I'm active and I'm in this process. That means that everybody who's alive and active in this process is being animated by me. Does that make sense? This is not any longer Lucifer domain, where everybody is animated by Lucifer. Yeah? This is a transfiguration. Yeah? A transformation, where we transcend Lucifer's will over you. Yeah, that's how I heal your curse. Yeah, it's kind of long-winded, but that's how it works. Yeah, so this invocation brings that out, brings that into a manifestation. But you need to be in a place to where prayer is important. Yeah, I invoke the power, the love, the wisdom, and then if you listen to my pujas, that invokes all the invocations of all the angels at all times, all the Buddhas, all the angels, and all the past incarnations of myself, all get stimulated inside your aura if you listen to my pujas. Yeah? And that cleans all of your karma. And it cleans whatever you're watching on TV. How many demons are you watching on TV? How many bullshit is going on around you? What is your family like? What's your aunt like? What's all these people that you've had in your life? All of that gets cleaned up. Yeah? Because I am not of this limited time. I'm omnipresent. Yeah? I'm not what you think. I am omnipresent. And in my pujas, you get that. Yeah? Because I'm not about what you're looking at. I'm about what we are at all times. Yeah? Infinitely. At all times. Yeah? So that erases anything that's imbalanced, anything that is not right in relationship to your soul. It allows all the different chakras and everything to move in, but it mainly brings in the monad. So I invoke the power, the love, the wisdom, ashram, soul, and monad. Yeah? So that means that this invocation helps to align people to have a will. Yeah? That's, the soul's great, yeah? And getting your personality cleared of all curses and all that, that's wonderful. But to be aligned to the monad means that God can physically take an incarnation. There's no signs where you go, is God dead? Where we're at today, is God dead? Yeah? The monad is the only thing that eliminates that thought form. Yeah? Because it's the life of God. We literally can see the life of God. We can witness the life of God. Yeah, and we see it in all the symbologies. We see it as either Shiva or Vishnu or Brahma. Yeah, we see it as a relationship of Jesus. We see it as Buddha. All those things are monadic. So you can't receive teachings of God until you get to a monadic state, where all the monadic lives of God make manifest, because there's no life of God without the monad. That's the difference between this incarnation of the avatar and the incarnation of average people. Yeah, the avatar incarnates from the monad and expresses outwardly. Yeah, so every age that the monad is expressing, it's a war against the lack of ability of the monad to express through the soul. Yeah, because that's the law. The monad expresses through the soul. It's not an opposite thing. Oh, I got to gain merit. Oh, I got to do a lot of good things. Oh, I got to clear my karma. Oh, I'm a very bad person. Oh, I'll never make it. Oh. That's bullshit. There's no such a thing. No such a thing. Yeah. There's no developing of merit. You would be like kicking ass forever trying to make merit. Yeah. You don't make merit. There's no such thing. You get blessed. And it only happens during the incarnation of the avatar. And that's the cycle of the time. Yeah. Bad time, good time. Good time is the incarnation of the avatar. And that's the monad. Yeah. So when the monad takes incarnation, it expresses monadic mind. All the previous lives of the avatar are expressed into you, and that creates a recapitulation of having been a disciple to that avatar throughout all your previous lives. So it completely takes you away from any identity that you're fallen, that you might have done something wrong. Maybe I was Judas, maybe I was this, maybe I was that. That all gets erased and allows you to be just the common, cordial, loving friend to the avatar. Does that make sense? Yeah, because it's not a big deal. The avatar is the friend. Yeah, it's not from the left-hand path where you got to get all Dalai Lama-like. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. All right. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. To this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We're all going to do Om together and do it at the same time I do. I do it about 10 seconds apart. expressed as the soul. Take a deep breath. I invoke the sense of hearing in the seventh ray. Hearing the word of God, the word of power. Intuition as the second ray, the understanding of God. Physical body and your form. The fourth ray of the fourth kingdom of humanity in balance. The fifth ray, the third kingdom, the animals. Sixth ray, the second kingdom, vegetables. The seventh ray, the first kingdom, minerals. I call upon the relationships of all the kingdoms penetrate the personality of humanity and express its collective soul. The seventh ray and the fourth ray as the mineral kingdom. The second ray, the fourth ray, and the sixth ray as the vegetable kingdom. The third ray and the sixth ray as the animal kingdom. The fourth ray and the fifth ray as the human kingdom. The fifth ray and the second ray as the egoic soul. The sixth ray and the third ray as planetary lives. The first ray and the seventh ray as solar lives. I call upon the seven rays of all the nations to penetrate the planet Earth, to bring forth the geomantic relationships of the soul, to integrate the egoic ray and the personality ray of each nation, and to express its true expression, to make manifest peace on earth as one living body of God. I call upon India to bring forth its fourth ray of personality and to integrate its first ray of soul to manifest the hidden light. I invoke China to bring forth its third ray personality, to integrate its egoic soul into its first ray, to manifest as the indication of the way. I invoke Germany to bring forth its first ray of personality, to integrate its egoic soul of fourth ray, to preserve the truth. I invoke France and its third ray personality to integrate its fifth ray of egoic soul to release the light. I invoke Great Britain and its first ray personality and its second ray egoic soul to bring forth its service. I invoke Italy and its fourth ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to carve the two paths. I invoke the United States and its sixth ray personality to integrate its second ray soul to light the way. to disperse the clouds. I invoke Brazil and its second ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul to hide the seed. I invoke the entity of this planet, the planetary logos, to incarnate the light and the beingness of this planet. I invoke the expression of the second ray force into both the personality and the egoic rays of the nation and the personality of the egoic ray of humanity, to fuse itself and its light into its healing process. I invoke the esoteric law of solar energy to make manifest the cosmic force of light, love, and peace. Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. Take it easy. Don't worry, it's okay. So, I've been doing this for a long time. Tibetans came for me when I was 9. I had already started this when I was 2. Yeah, very actively. Yeah, and so I've been focusing on meditation and the pyramids, since I was extremely young. Yeah, and once it got to the point to where I was able to go to Nepal and begin my externalization as Buddha, my focus was to be at this location, Bodha Stupa, Bodhnath, and that stupa was made by my previous incarnation long time ago. Me and my mother and my family built that stupa. We financed the making of that stupa. She sold eggs for a living. And over a long period of time, she got sponsorship and help, and all my brothers and everybody began building this stupa. So this is the life before Padmasambhava. Yeah. So the life before Padmasambhava was building this stupa. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of time, years, focusing on meditating with this stupa and with the Nepali people and Tibetans and everything, bringing about a recapitulation, that most people aren't aware of. They don't know that a stupa is a pyramid. That's what a stupa really is. It's the body of Buddha, the stages of enlightenment of Buddha, and it's also a pyramid. Yeah. So it focuses on a sacred geometrical reality of the Great Pyramid in relationship to our planet and our spiritual evolution, the right-hand path. Yeah. Sacred geomancy is based on the right-hand path. So all the masters are taught through sacred geomancy, whether it be Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, all of them, and even including Tibetan Buddhism. So that's why you see the stupa. So in the process of the stupa, to help humanity, I built this place, yeah, this pyramid, which would be a stupa, yeah. And, you know, most people go, well, I don't know, that don't look like a stupa, you know. So then I built this, which is the dome with the pyramid over it, yeah. Then allows people to go, oh, that looks like a stupa, you know. But in reality, it's 7 pyramids sitting here, yeah. And they're sitting in the sacred grace of planet Earth, yeah. Earth is sacred. It is a placement. It's the body of the Lord himself. Is the Lord himself, yeah. The crown of the Lord is on the moon, yeah. It's the entrance point for the Lord. That's a big Lord, yeah. But that is where my crown center's at, is the moon, yeah. My heart center is the sun, yeah, the essential spiritual sun, yeah. So most people's chakras are like, you know, hanging out in their bodies. Mine is a celestial, cosmic body, yeah. So that's a real reality when it comes down to the avatar. That's not premise of potential, oh, gee, what would God be like, or what is this, you know. In reality, where I come from, this is exactly what it is, yeah. So, as I said, the process of creating spirituality is temple building. You as a body is the temple, yeah. And I can't put out books and direct you as to how to build your temple, yeah. But I can send light into your body. And I personally can build your temple. I can build your temple, yeah. So I put out these little tools like this. This etheric weaver, yeah. And things like this head pyramid here, yeah. And different geometric forms, vajras, all kinds of things, this pyramid that I'm in, all of that is to increase humanity's potential of having a personal relationship with the Lord. It's not a Bible. It's an actual personal relationship with the Lord, and it's building your temple. Yeah. You go, oh, that's a nice etheric weaver. I would like to have that. Can I have that? Yeah. So you get it. You own it. Yeah. But all of a sudden your temple is building. Yeah. You're now a spiritual person. Yeah. And if you really got it together, and you're not just in your lower chakras, then you're also interested in the music, because those are attuned to your throat center. Yeah. And that activates your spiritual memory. Yeah. Yeah. The dharma activity that goes on in your wisdom, yeah, in your heart center, located directly in there, inside your lotus. Yeah. So all the songs, everything I do, is teaching of the 7 rays, invoking the 7 rays, dispelling all your glamours, all the things I do is to build your temple and the temple of this earth. Yeah, not just people, but the birds and the flowers and the trees. Yeah, I give them their action. Yeah, they have a reaction. That's called initiation. Yeah. That's what the Lord does. The Lord is the tree of life, creates the spark of life, initiates life, yeah? And when the Lord chooses, your life is over with. When the Lord chooses, your life comes back. That's the Lord. The Lord is in charge of your life. The moment you die, the moment you take a breath. your entire life. And that's for everything, whether it be a bird or a plant or an animal or a rock or the placement of this earth and its relationship to cosmic events that could happen to this earth, or strange earthly events that can happen in this earth. All are actually under the control of the Lord. But we don't know that, so we don't put any of that into our reality of this earth. So it's a very unsafe, situation. Anything can happen. Yeah, we could have devastation, we could have war, we can have all these things, go on. But in reality, because of the Lord, we're protected on every level, because we are the central spiritual sun. Yeah, we're not just planet Earth, we're not just people. We are the central spiritual sun. That means in all of the cosmos, we are the Lord's refraction. It's like a big Mandelbrot. Yeah, it comes from here, at this point, out into everything. Yeah, so that's what we know when we build a stupa. We go, whoa, Buddha is so infinite, so everything, so omnipresent, so inside of every atom is Buddha, Bodhisattva, inside of every atom. So if we were to build a stupa, we would put that into effect. Yeah? And we'd effectively create the sacred geometric reality of the earth. And that saves everybody. That's soul therapy. Soul therapy. It's not the left-hand path where there is no soul. Yeah? It's the soul therapy. Yeah? So it literally stimulates the soul to temple building. So this is here. It's in us. And slowly but surely we wake up. And we find that we've got pyramids all over the freaking planet. How did they get there? Must have been aliens. Yeah, must have been aliens. Couldn't have been us. How could we have possibly done that? We're not smart. We don't have that inside of us. Not everybody thinks they could build the Great Pyramid. But somebody did. And it was human beings. Yeah. Maybe it took a long time, for human beings to develop those skills. Yeah. And to be able to harness. Imagine building the pyramid. The blocks, the weight, the perfection, how they sit in place, their purpose. There's no bodies in there. Yeah. What's it for? How does it work? How come they're all over Egypt? How come they're all over China? How come they're all over America? How come they're in Central America? Yeah. How come these things are all over the planet? Because of Buddha. The influence of Buddha consciousness creates something that creates the alpha and the omega. And the alpha omega is something that's done now. Yeah. Anything that's done now is actually done in the end and in the beginning. That's Buddha. That's how omnipresent works. That's how Christ works. Christ is Alpha, Omega. So all actions and activity create a process that stem to the point of the center, back to the Buddha, back to the point of origin. Yeah? So anything and everything that's being done is part and parcel of everything, and it all begins coming back together as a matrix. Yeah? Instead of a disjointed astral plane, which is all based on delusionary characteristics that have nothing to do with reality, but only to do with hate and projected illusions and astral delusions that come from the mind of witches and warlocks. It scares the shit out of us. I mean, they create mutations in animals, they create demons manifested in the night, they create all kinds of ghosts, they create poltergeists, they create possession. Yeah? So it's an enormous scenario. So I created a science. That science is to eliminate all of that inside of humanity. And that's the building of a stupa. This is the base of a stupa. And what we do is that we put in each one of these corners, all the way through the stupa, all those little holes, is where we put a blessing pot. Yeah? And where's my blessing pot? Oh. Like this. This is a blessing pot. Yeah? And in that, all the highest masters, yeah, they go on retreat. Yeah, while they're on retreat, they gather together, they go on retreat. It's usually a 3-year, 3-month, 3-week, 3-day process. Yeah. And during that time, they take relics from their previous lives and they put them inside of here and they bless them. Camera's off? Oh, yeah. I'm just showing the picture. Ah, there it is. That's it, relics, yep. So this is what all the Rinpoches, in Tibetan Buddhism they're called Rinpoches, and all of them put their bits and pieces, you know, from clothing to bones to all kinds of things from their previous lives. But yet they're alive in this life, yeah? And they're doing pujas over it. And some of these things are 12 generations, 12 lives, 24 lives, 22 lives, yeah? And each one of those lives gets something, a piece, yeah? Then they make little pills, yeah? And they do blessing pills. They orient the relationship of all the elements of this earth to move toward Dakini, the influence of the highest nature of the female aspect, yeah? The Tara quality, yeah? And that's inside of all elements. Those are elements inside of a tree, elements inside of everything. But those elements are in a state of consciousness to where they can witness Buddha and have self-realization, yeah? Because the two are a reflection of the other. One's Bodhisattva, one's Buddha, yeah? And they reflect each other. You see that in Vajradhara, Vajrayogini, at the highest of high realities, that's that image. So in this impresses upon that to awaken inside of every living human being, which is the Tara quality, the influence of nature, yeah? And that's simply Tara's reaction to Buddha being alive. That makes her alive. Then she has recapitulation. That nature is what happens inside of every living thing through the actions of Buddhism. That everybody has that quality. So all the bodhisattvas, they do pujas, long pujas, in order to orient that sentient consciousness into these pills so that then it could radiate into the characteristics of the curses inside of humanity, and it becomes the remedy. Yeah, there are 5 Buddhas. Yeah, at the highest realms there are 5 manifestations of myself. Yeah, and each one is a remedy. Each one is a remedy for all these different rays that boycott your ability to become spiritual. Yeah, their dogma and their aggressiveness and their jealousy and enviousness and all these different qualities that manifest in a human being, and they come from these evil spirits, but they're there as glamours. Yeah. So the Buddhas manifest as physical forms, 5 of them, to be the remedies of these natures found in humanity when they're not spiritual. Yeah. So that's what's inside this sort of thing. That's what's inside the stupa. And in the stupa, we have that as the base. Yeah. So then from there, we put in a circle. Yeah. And this circle goes, this base, they're standing on top of that base now. And that base is a big square. So, and then a circle is placed on top of that, and that goes all the way around, and it has 3 rings to it, and they go deep into the inside. And that black thing you see in the center is a tree of life. Yeah, that's a literal piece of long wood that's painted, and all these different pujas are put on it, and it's wrapped and then put in there. Yeah, so this is a long process. I'm just showing you quick, but this is a science. Yeah, and we do this science in order to raise the consciousness of humanity. Every time a stupa is built, it's helping to raise the consciousness of humanity, because there are masters of wisdom that are involved in putting the pots in the ground. All their previous lives are being blessed into this stupa. So it's not a little event of building a house or constructing some kind of thing. This is an actual science. And so then it starts looking like this as time goes on. And I built this in Dharamsala in the backyard of the Dalai Lama. It's the biggest stupa in Dharamsala. And inside the stupa, once the stupa has been created and everything, we had to initiate the stupa to the highest Buddha that that is incarnated. Whether it be physically incarnated or previously incarnated, whichever one you want to focus on as being the Buddha of this particular stupa. So this one is Maitreya. And so they put my pyramid in it, inside the stupa. And then inside that is a picture of me and a bunch of other stuff, and then all of everything gets all put together, and it comes out looking like this. So that's what's up there now, at the Dalai Lama's residence, where the biggest prayer wheel, and this is built to heal all the people of Tibet who suffered. Every one of their names are inside this stupa. All the political prisoners that were the group of political prisoners are the ones who asked me to build this in order to heal the nation of Tibet. So I did that. And in doing that, that effectively changes. It's not how the Dalai Lama sees this ought to work out. It's not how China sees how this should work out. It's how I do. I can see the karmapas and how many karmapas there are, and I have no conflict with it. I know there's 5, and most people can only see 2. At best, they can see 1. But I can see 5. That's no problem for me, because I'm Buddha. I'm transcendent. I don't have limitations on any of the levels inside the hierarchy. But the problem is that our hierarchy has been taken over by false magicians. And they are tempting humanity in aggressive ways of hate and many other ways in order to create bad karma inside their ranks, so that they're not able to discern, discriminate who's incarnated and whether or not they really are the true reincarnation. So it's a lot of doubt and a lot of suspicion and a lot of fear, a lot of hate. All these terrible things have been generated inside of Tibetan Buddhism in the masters of all freaking people. So I've come to take complete charge of it. I've taken over and taken charge of Tibetan Buddhism. I've stopped the Dalai Lama from making Dorje Chögyam an evil deity. He now comes out and says he's not evil, he's fine. I'm sorry I said that. Actually did that. He did that in January. That's impossible, but he did it. And I've been working 10 years on this guy to get him to do that. And he wouldn't do it, and he finally did it in January. So that's a major, major outcome for all of you, to have someone who is a strong channel for the left-hand path, who destroyed Tibet, destroyed Tibetan Buddhism, basically, destroyed most of the Rinpoches in Tibetan Buddhism, many, many generations of time, and yet I have gotten him to a point of repenting and receiving the light so he doesn't stand in the way. So now I'm in process to where I can able to go to Nepal, India, Tibet, any of those places, and take on the position as a leader of Tibetan Buddhism, which is what I do now. So that's a very different, when that happens, we have an enormous shift onto the right-hand path, where it's not a left-hand path person in charge of Tibetan Buddhism. And as time goes on, it won't be a left-hand person in charge of Christianity. And it won't be a left-hand person in charge of Muslims. It'll be Jesus. It's right there in the books. Muslims say, Jesus comes, Jesus saves us, that's that. End of Satan. And that's true. That's true. It's what it says. And it's true. Same thing with the Christians. Jesus comes, end of Satan, that's that. So it's really a matter of me getting my job done and doing what I'm doing. So my main teachings is to help you understand that there is an ongoing work happening on the right-hand path. And it's mainly established out of this monastery, as a science, as a very strong science that's affecting psychic generators by Russians, it's affecting manipulating coincidences that go on inside of mediumship and channeling that has been going on for a long time that has pretty much stopped. It's just hardly happening at all anymore. Yeah. So all of that is soulfully integrating. Everybody is soulfully integrating. Yeah. So we're going to come out of this not as victims from the coronavirus, but as people who have healed. Yeah. And who begin to step forward. And slowly, as time comes on, they become aware of my incarnation and the fact that I am where I am in this process, and that I don't go away very easily, and that I reincarnate, which is a real big thing. Yeah, I reincarnate, and I'm recognized by millions of Tibetans at the head of the hierarchy. There's no question as to who I am. I'm easy to find, very easy. Yeah, they find me, they bring me back in. So this is the first time people get to experience what it's like in the Western world to have a master incarnate and reincarnate and keep this thing going on the right-hand path forever without any follow the way of me being gone for 2,000 years and you don't know what to do with your life. That's never going to happen. Yeah. And never going to be a time that I'm not on this planet. I know when I'm 2 years old, I'm able to talk and clearly give direction. At 2 years old, I did that in this life. So next time I come back, I'm on. And I know next time my parents will let me go with the Tibetans. Yeah, this is all just the beginning. Yeah, and there's no way it all could have worked out. I mean, I'm right here in the middle of the Dark Lodge. There's no way there could have been an easy go in this process. Yeah, but we are in a different stage. We're in the year going in the year 2020 to the year 2030. By the time we get to the year 2030, nearly every single person on this planet will know that I incarnated. Yeah, and that I am in India, very well known. That I'm in America, very well known. That I'm in India, Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, Tibet, and China. All those areas, very well known. Yeah, and these are all places looking for Maitreya, looking for the reappearance of Christ. All these places are looking for that, and I show up. And this is going to be the externalization period, this 10 years. Yeah, and that's going to make the biggest difference in everybody. Yeah, because there's not going to be the process of you following evangelists saying it's got to be a nuclear war, or following a pope who's actually following Lucifer, or following a Messiah, which is a total relationship to false messiahs. Yeah, you know, so all of that is going to be cleaned up, and people are going to have a way to heal themselves, heal their neighbors, heal their continent, heal their community, build monasteries, begin the construction of monasteries. By the time 2030 comes, we will be building monasteries with Native Americans, establishing the most beautiful, complex, beautiful healing centers of first and second initiations that will all be ran by Native Americans who are well established in the first, second, and third initiations. Yeah, so that's it. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Oh, yeah.